So, thank you both for introducing the world of NFTs to us. I have no idea what all that means. I really had to Google what NFT stood for. So I will allow you to do your thing because I'm still at work myself, and so I'm just gonna be quietly listening. This is y'all's world, and explain it to us, where we can understand how we can decide if this is something we can actually do.
For sure. I'm gonna drop some links. So yeah, one sec, I'll drop that.
Amazing.
While you're dropping the links, do you want me to introduce myself and then you pick
Yeah,
it afterwards? Okay.
that'd be great.
So I'm sure some of you guys have seen me in the chat, but my name's Diana. I'm an artist overall, but recently I started with photography, and that's what I'm doing in the NFT crypto art space right now. I think that you'll find when looking into it that, it's full of 3D and 2D artists, digital artists, but it's definitely a space for us photographers as a whole, and obviously Black photographers and Black women photographers. And I got into it, feels like it was probably a month ago that I started really researching into it. My partner just started doing 3D art, and we started talking about it, and we found a whole bunch of other artists that were really into the space. But it's something that's very new, and that there aren't many people outside of maybe the immediate crypto art space that know about NFTs or things like that, because it's something that is evolving, and everything is now really I would say it's really getting started now. It's been around for a while, but right now the space is being formed. So my work, I don't know whether Lauren dropped that in the chat yet, but
Yeah, still working on it.
that's okay. A lot of my work is about identity, expression of identity. I do a lot of portraiture. And I would say that it's, oh wait, can I bring people into the volume? Okay. I'd say that my work is mostly conceptual and a little bit surreal. So it sort of works with everything that's been going through the space right now. And yeah, and feel free to ask me any questions at all during this talk or the next 3 ones that we have over the week that Lauren and I have got going on. So yeah.
I will do my intro next. Sorry, my internet is playing with me right now. But gonna drop this link to the resources. Let me know if that works, everybody. But yeah, I'm Lauren. I am studying film and entrepreneurship right now at Northwestern. I am a photographer and filmmaker interested in screenwriting and directing. And I recently joined the crypto art space 2 weeks ago. It feels like it's been a year. Time moves very quickly in this space. Okay, great. I'm glad it works. And I've just been listening to Clubhouse talks about investing in crypto purely because one of my friends is really big into investing in crypto and kept telling me to do so. And I finally listened. And then we had this Clubhouse room one day about NFTs. And I was just very confused about what they were. And I finally just decided to, after one night staying up all night on Clubhouse, I did some research, and I was lucky enough to get an invite to Foundation from a friend of mine. And I was trying to find a way to mesh like some video and photo aspects. So my first collection is a series of self-portraits, and they move a little bit animated. And so, yeah, I've been trying to just find my footing as a photographer in this space. And I was so excited to find Diana. And there's another woman, Raven. She also is a Black woman photographer in this space. And I just wanted to bring it to the community because I would love to see more photographers in this space because our work is just as great. And that's kind of been my experience. And we can delve more into like the different platforms, what NFT is. But I will drop both of me and Diana's info as well in the chat in case anyone wants to check out some of our work on the different platforms. But yeah, we can, if anyone has any questions before we move on to like the next part.
I
let
just
us
want
know.
to say too, I want to add on to what you said about trying, like the reason that we felt that this was so important was we're seeing a lot of artists' lives change from this. I do think that is something that we should start by saying that it's a gamble and you should only put as much money and time as you are willing to potentially lose. But, you know, it's really important that we get ahead of the curve and we don't want to be shut out of this new opportunity for artists to gain autonomy or gain funding or just have more how do you say, like they're more in charge of your work and your time because you are getting funding directly from other people, and it's a lot of money that's going through the communities right now that I definitely don't want us to be shut out from. And if we can at least start, you know, knowledge is power and understanding the space even a little bit so you could go on and do your own research. I think that that's really important, just to know that this is starting and that, you know, it exists in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people are kind of just reclaiming ownership, you know, by artists and for artists. So it's really beautiful to see, and different collectors are, you know, artists buying from other artists, which is really beautiful. And with that, I guess we can just jump into kind of what are NFTs, because I know everyone is like, what are you talking about? So I guess I can go with that if that's cool, Diana. I'll just read
Yeah.
through. Okay, cool. So NFTs are basically, they're non-fungible tokens. And they, you know, they're bought and sold by different collectors, and it's basically like a digital file that you're minting on this thing called the blockchain. It may be very confusing to understand what the blockchain is, but just for now, just realize that like you are posting your work, which is called minting, on a platform, for example, just like you would do on Instagram, but you know, you're really setting the like all of the terms and conditions. Like you set the, you know, the price and everything, and it's a really beautiful way to really get paid for how much your work is valued. And going more into NFTs, so a non-fungible token, what that actually means, fungibility is like the ability of like a good or asset to be readily interchanged for another. So kind of think about like a car or a house, how that is like a, you know, non-fungible thing. But something fungible is like money. And so with NFTs, it's kind of like you're just basically creating something that is similar to that of like owning a house, for example, and putting that on the blockchain. And I'm so sorry if that was confusing, but it's very hard to explain. And if Diana, if you want to add anything to that piece, I'll pass it to you.
The way that I've been able to understand it and the way that I've been trying to consume when people have been speaking about it is I almost see it as, you know, an artist becomes like a brand or something. And just like if you think of Pokemon cards, if you make your own Pokemon cards and each one is limited edition, people like to get to know the artists. And, you know, that's why it's really important to make yourself really known in the space. But people can purchase that from you, and they will then trade it and it will raise in value, and over time, as you know, the different things that you do, those become almost like prints or another like almost merch for an artist in a way. And when it doesn't make sense as to why you'd want to have, or like you wouldn't think about purchasing one yourself, I always thought about, you know, if there's artists or somebody that I truly admire, like if we're going to use a Black woman photographer like Carrie Mae Weems, she was to release a one-of-a-kind photograph, I would want that, you know? And I expect that, you know, if, you know, years later, as she gets older, as she does more work and, you know, as her image grows, then me having that photograph that she put out, one of a kind, that'll grow um, it'll become more valuable. So that's sort of how it's working. It is just a digital file. A lot of people have been confusing it as this is going to become like a physical thing, like a print. Some artists do that. Some people will release a print that's connected to a non-fungible token. But that's, if that makes sense, and if anybody has any more questions on maybe how we could clarify this further, but that's sort of how I see it, as like a collectible from an artist, directly from an artist.
Right, it's rare and it's like a unique asset. And on certain platforms like Rarible, you can make like, you know, you can sell it for like 99 pieces, for example, but on other ones you can do like one of one. And like for Rarible, if you're selling like one of 99, like multiple collectors will have an opportunity to collect all 99 of those, but then like it's gone. Don't mint like the same piece on different platforms. Yeah, I guess basically before we get into anything else, if anyone has any questions before we move in, kind of like how to do it, you can drop that in the comments or just come off mute and we'll try to explain. But the NFT part, it seems overwhelming, but it really just, it's not as complicated as it may seem, but there's a lot of technical aspects with the blockchain that is confusing.
I think another way that we have to look at it, which includes, and it's very hard for fine artists because it's something entirely different than what we're used to, but it almost requires like a shift in thinking about art and how we put out our artwork. As we're seeing, and if you're in the space, you'll see this more about, the different conversations that leaders in the space are having. We already are moving towards a more digital world with all of social media, the different ways, the different screens that we have. And even though there may not be many ways to display or show off what you've bought right now, there will be many different ways in the future. And being at the forefront of this, space evolving is a pretty big deal. But like, if we want to think something really crazy and just see how far this could go, some artists were talking about how like with the Google augmented reality glasses, how you could wear those and be able to look at the walls and those will have the art on it. And it's imagining a whole new world of how art will be consumed. And it's really crazy and some people don't like it, and that's okay. But that's sort of where this art space is looking towards, and how that's where we're beginning to consume art in that way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good point, really just shifting your thinking because it is new, like it's revolutionary. And to answer your question, Kareen, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Let me know if it's not. But I would say we're still learning kind of like what like the value is holding an NFT and like for all these collectors. And I wouldn't say, like specifically like the idea is just to buy it for reselling like art, because I think a lot of collectors are taking joy in like collecting different artists' work, just as you would buy like, a print of someone. Like that's extremely valuable in artist's work, and having a digital asset of that, it really is like an asset. And it will be interesting to see like, I think, oh, Carolyn, could you mute by chance? Sorry. Thank you. Or whoever's but also with the, if you resell, I lost her, I'm sorry. But with the collectible that you get, the collectors, it's really cool because, that value will like go up over time since they're buying an Ethereum. The value of that will change.
Got into that.
Yeah. So cool. I hope that made sense. And it's also cool because one of the people who bought my pieces, he's collecting like only blue faces. And so it's really cool. Like collectors are kind of like having joy in buying different artists' work, and you get to really know like who is buying your piece as well. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And we can go into kind of how to start if that helps. Now,
feel free to ask any questions as well as we're going. Like I feel like this
please.
is pretty casual. Just we want you guys to get in on.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're still learning ourselves too. We're still learning, and for sure. Okay, as an artist, how do we sell our artwork? Yeah, I guess that leads us into our next point, is how to get going with selling it. We can start with the how to sell part, and then we'll answer the copyright. That's cool. But how to begin, on the resource doc, there's a lot of good resources on like how to begin, what is NFT, and I think that'll be really helpful for you guys to kind of just delve into and do separate research. But I think the most important part is kind of, setting up your wallet for this. And a lot of people use MetaMask. And basically with that, it allows you to basically sign into these platforms using your wallet, and it's a decentralized way to receive, the money that you would get from selling your artwork. Um,
MetaMask,
and
by the way, it's a Chrome extension that you add on to your browser. So you add on the extension, you create a wallet, and you can create multiple wallets. And then, like Lauren said, you connect to the different platforms, and you can make accounts depending on which one you're on, and be able to sell from that. But continue. I just wanted to make sure that people knew it was a
no,
Chrome extension.
thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like trying to find ways to explain it simply. Please
Been
tell me if it's like
taking in so much information
not.
in the past like few weeks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And then you can also download it on your phone too. And that's been helpful for like transferring Ethereum that I need for more gas fees. And yeah, Natalie, you can use your Coinbase wallet to buy Ethereum and transfer that to your MetaMask wallet.
You need MetaMask for a lot of these sites. So they usually
Yeah.
connect with MetaMask, not Coinbase, but you can purchase what you'll need going forward. And we'll get into why you need to purchase Ethereum at first. But
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There's so many different. Yeah. So basically, why you need this wallet is because you're going to need like gas, kind of like you need gas to power up your car. You need gas to be able to mint on the blockchain. Um, and so the gas fees kind of change from day to day just because of the way, hi, thanks for joining us, and the way of the market. And so once you get your wallet, you can buy Ethereum either you can buy it from MetaMask, or like from your Coinbase wallet, you can transfer that to your MetaMask address. And basically, before you're able to put your work or mint it on these platforms, you have to have some, Ethereum. The prices are kind of crazy, but it'll tell you how much you need. And then once you have that amount of Ethereum, you're able to mint it on the blockchain. And then, different websites will have different stipulations of like if you can set the reserve price, or you can just set it up there and then people will be able to make the bids themselves. But some platforms don't use Ethereum, like Bitski is one that I've seen a lot of photographers using. Well, not a lot, a couple. And basically, they're not using Ethereum. You can basically buy like a subscription model. I think it's like $67 a month, and you don't ever have to pay any gas fees, and you get paid in actual money instead. Thank you for linking that. And I actually haven't used Bitski yet myself. It is an onboarding process, but they're working on getting more people onboarded. But just to say that there are other platforms that don't use Ethereum, and there are others as well, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's kind of what you need to be able to mint your artwork on the platform. If you want to add anything, Diana, I'm sure I probably forgot, but
I think that it's important to mention also is because this thing, to compare it to fine art, right? When you sell, if you make a photograph and you decide to sell only one print of it, and there's only going to be one print in the world, after you sell it to a collector or your friend or anything, after they get it, most likely you're not going to know what happens to it afterwards. It could be sold, it could be destroyed, anything is out of your hands. You kind of lose all connection to that print in a way. With crypto art and in the NFT space, when you put your file, your image onto the blockchain, it gets connected, like I said, to the blockchain, and a history of that file begins. So when you put it on the blockchain, there's time, and the time that you put it up, the date and everything, what you put it up for, how much money that you set the reserve price at. And then if somebody bids on it and buys it, then that is added to the history of the file. And following, which is very good for artists and adds to how, like, what was the word that you use? Not autonomy, but the control that they have over their artwork. After it's sold from that first collector that bought it. So if they were to sell it to somebody else, there are usually royalty fees that you can add on. So you will continue to get money after your artwork passes, hands, and you'll, continue to get that, the Ethereum going into your wallet and things like that. And as it raises in value, then you're still seeing the money from your artwork because it's still connected to you because you put it on the blockchain. So I just think that that's pretty interesting to then, you'll be able to see the history of your artwork, who's getting it, who has it, if they decided to burn it, any of those things. And I don't know, I just think that that's really cool to, as an artist, to see the life of your piece and where it lives beyond you. And then also still be able to, get money off of your work.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. I think that goes back to one of Natalie, or no, someone had a question, Crystal, about copyright too, because someone was mentioning in the Clubhouse room that they were worried about putting on there because they were worried about copyright. And someone, I wish I had the response in full, but they were saying how, just as we're posting our work on Instagram or et cetera, people will still sometimes repost our work without crediting us. And like Diana was saying, your collector, that is always going to be on the blockchain. You can see like when, who has it, everything, like if they're burning it or et cetera. And so it's actually more, I feel like it's more secure in my opinion. And like you still own, the rights to the photo and et cetera. And you can make that clear, but they just have the digital asset of that, whatever art piece that you're minting. And that maybe take a while to grasp. It took me a while to like think through it, and that's okay. But I just wanted to echo Diana's point because, thinking about the issues that we already go through with copyright and people not crediting us and et cetera, it's a pretty cool way for you to actually have a cool relationship with your collector and also always existing on the blockchain. And it's kind of a spiritual process. But yeah, going back through the minting process a little bit, I also attached a guide to using MetaMask, and it is helpful to explain like what it is. I wish I read it before I jumped in. But with minting, basically, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. But I like the metaphor about like, getting gas for your car to make it run. You need to be able to put your artwork on the blockchain, and to be able to do it effectively, you need to have gas or Ethereum, because a lot of these platforms are built on using Ethereum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so that's why you need essentially gas fees or Ethereum to be able to put it on the blockchain. But other platforms, like I said, like Bitski, they're not built on Ethereum, and they're actually like a wallet, so you don't actually need Ethereum. So there are certain platforms like that, and in the guide that I attached above, there are different platforms, and you can see like which ones require what. But so yes, the traditional way of minting, you need to have a bit of Ethereum in there. First, get your MetaMask wallet going, figure out which platform you want to use, and then you can simply just upload your artwork, and through your MetaMask wallet, it will come up, and usually it'll say like, do you approve of this transaction, sign it, and then it'll take care of everything, and it will mint to the platform. I think that takes us into a good segue of discussing some of these platforms and our experience. But if anyone still needs some clarifications, let us know. And if you have anything, Diana, do you think that's a good segue? Okay, cool. I'm glad that made sense. But yeah, the platforms, I feel like we can get into a bit of that and kind of just mesh our experiences, if you think that works, Diana.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I can start. The platforms part, just wanted to know before we get into our experience, there's so many different ones out there, and I think like it would be helpful for everyone to kind of just like, look up different ones. There are some that don't have invites, like Zora recently just opened it up to everyone, which is amazing. And I think they've, yeah. Oh no.
No, you're fine. I just want to make sure, because it's like, this is so new information that some platforms, because this is so new, close themselves off, and they only take off, a few creators at once. So those creators usually have the power to bring on other creators. So when you sell an artwork, then they will send you a few links to give to other artists to bring them on, like invites. But a lot of them have been very closed, and it's been sort of like artists bringing on other artists as it grows. So it's been growing really slow. But then there are other open platforms, which is like Instagram or anything, where anybody can join, anybody can upload work, and it's really open.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, because I think when I was joining, I was frustrated by that because like some of the platforms I saw were just invite only, and some of them take a long time. So don't get discouraged by that. And I think a lot of people right now are kind of getting caught up in like getting an invite, but you can mint your work on a lot of platforms like OpenSea or Mintable or Zora that you don't need an invite or anything. And so once you find a platform that works for you and kind of like, your budget as an artist and what works for you, because some of these platforms, the gas fees are extremely high. There is a fund on the dock called the Mint Fund, and they're taking applications to help like with artists who need, money for, gas fees and et cetera. But yeah, so once you find that platform, you can sign up, create your profile, and you will attach your MetaMask wallet to that platform. And then once you upload your work, you'll have to sign, with your MetaMask account. Once you upload the artwork, you approve that transaction. And it's pretty, set from there. And you'll have to just kind of figure out like what you want to set your price at. And a lot of these platforms will have like collectibles that you can set. Like, for instance, with my drops that I did, I was attaching like an 8x10 print with it and early access to future drops, just as like a little incentive that you can include. And a lot of people are getting pretty unique with it. Like I know a filmmaker in this space, he is dropping parts of his short film that he made as an unlockable content, and whoever gets like that piece will get access to the full film and some other perks. So you can really like be creative with that, which is really cool. And yeah, and the different platforms, they might take like certain percentages, but I don't think anything's been like outrageous at all with any of them. And some of them give you full profits. So it really just have to find the platform that works for you, but also don't get caught up in like, I have to get on this platform, because I think just getting started and kind of experimenting is helpful. And not jumping ahead, but there's like communities that you can join, like different Discords, and that are, some of them are mentioned on the resource doc, and we'll be adding more. But there's a community for photographers and other artists on Discord. I attached the link, and just artists are willing to help each other and like really are supportive and will be willing to answer any questions. Like don't feel afraid to like DM someone or like ask a question, because I felt the most support from the space from a lot of the artists, and just communities. Like there's the Black NFT art on Instagram. The head of that will be joining us for the Clubhouse call later today. And there's like Black NFT creators pages. And there's just a lot of different support systems that are being really helpful to amplify other artists. But yeah, oh no, I think Diana left. But yeah, did you have a question? I'll stop talking. Oh, there you are. I didn't know if you were left or not. Did someone have a question before we get into our experiences?
Yeah, since we're at the halfway mark, I feel like before we get into our stuff, we should definitely take any and all, because we went over a lot. And if you want us to literally just repeat what we said already, and just try and make it better, then just, now is the time to ask.
Yeah, please hop off mute. We'll stop talking. That's a great question. No, you do not, because I sold some works that I'm selling as prints on the the blockchain as an NFT. And so yeah, you can still, and then you attach the print with that to the collector. And I'm still like learning about how to go next, because I know a lot of artists are just more incorporating newer work on the platform, but you can definitely like put older work. I just think it's, it takes a bit of time and intention, just with any project, like why are you doing this, and to gravitate people towards it. But you definitely can like put your print work as an NFT, for the short answer.
All right, so just to follow up with my question, I thought it easier if I just speak instead of trying to. So my print work are in limited editions of 50, and they're with a gallery. So if I'm putting that same artwork on NFTs, would I whoever buys it, would I then send a print and then reduce that number to like 49, 48, etc., etc.? Like that's a bit I'm really confused about, because they're those prints, they're like large scale prints, and they're already, so a gallery like sells them on my behalf. I don't know what the crossover is, or do I put like a new collection on NFTs, like create separate NFT artwork, or can I use my existing? Sorry, yeah.
I feel like the way to think about it, and you may have to talk to your gallery, because none of these things are so fully fleshed out that we have, you know, this is how galleries deal with the crypto art space, because they haven't come to meet really much yet. But the way that I've been thinking about it is like, as an artist, if I create, and I don't do this, but if I created, you know, a photograph and I decided I'm going to put it on mugs, I'm going to do limited edition prints, I'm going to put it on t-shirts, and then also NFTs, you know, turning them into NFTs, then it's just like another asset that I have. And they're not necessarily connected. Does that make sense? Like, it's another piece of merch almost that you can buy from an artist.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry, not to cut you off.
sorry, yeah, no, it is making sense, I think.
Yeah,
like,
and also, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just like saying how like I definitely need to get my head around it like properly by like reading all the articles, because like I have been in a few Clubhouse talks and a lot of it just goes over my head, and I'm trying to research as I'm listening, and then
yeah. No, me too. It took me, when I tell you I was up for 24 hours like on Clubhouse, just like so captivated by all of it, and I just kind of had to go in the deep end and really reach out. Like I DM'd a bunch of people with my questions until I fully got it, and I'm still learning, but I just, you know, it takes a minute. But also I wanted to say, like, you don't have to, you know, incorporate like prints or anything if you don't want to like have any incentives for your collector and just want the actual piece you're minting. Like that's cool too. I just did like a print because I saw someone else had done it, and I was like, oh cool, like I can just give them a print of my work, and still figuring out different collectibles I want. But yeah, you know, just do whatever works for you, and don't feel compelled, like feel compelled don't feel compelled to rush in this space. Like, you know, I'm still thinking about newer collections I want to make with this, if I want to put some older works on the blockchain. So it just takes a bit of thinking and intentionality. But yeah, and also the other question, I have not cashed out yet. I used some of the money I made from my first sale to mint some more. And then I learned some trial and error from that, which I can go into later from my experience. But I just have it in my wallet right now. Not sure what I'll do with it, but yeah, it's just sitting there right now. But sweet. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah, please let us know. Like, hop off mute if you want.
I know it's confusing, so even if you guys have any like super basic questions,
yeah, like, please.
Again, if you want to know what is an NFT, I've asked that like 1,000
so many times. No dumb questions. I'm still learning. Like, yeah.
Good day, everybody. So I think I came late to the conversation, so I'm kind of lost because I'm not really like I'm new to the world of cryptocurrency, number one, so I'm not really versatile. Like a lot of things you've been mentioning. So the NFT stuff, is it that you create a piece of art, then for you to be able to upload it for sale or something, you have to have a particular amount of cryptocurrency in your wallet before you be allowed to upload it for sale? And the stuff about minting, is that the I don't know, so the minting stuff, does it relate to the amount you have in your wallet? Is that the meaning of the minting that Diana was talking about? Because I'm kind of lost. I have it in my jotter to make research because I came late, so I don't really understand a lot of what has been
No.
a lot of the conversation. I'm just lost.
Yeah, no, I feel like I was the same way. Like, it took me so long. Like, I've been waiting to get into the space for months because I just was so confused. And I just took some time to do some research, and it kind of clicked. And I feel like after this call, you'll be like, wow, wait, it's clicking. It'll start to click. But yeah, to answer your question, I think I got the question right. But yeah, you do have to have some like Ethereum. I wouldn't let that stop you. Like I would make a wallet first, like MetaMask, and then figure out like what platform that you want to put your work on first. And then once you sign up, because then you can see like what the gas fees are like for that platform and etc. So I feel like that's what I would do first. And then again, there are also some platforms that don't require Ethereum. Like there's this, I think I put it on the resource doc, but there's this Instagram video one of my friends made, and he uploaded like a NFT, the Mintable, which I think Mark Cuban owns or something, but he didn't have to like pay anything, no Ethereum, he just uploaded it. I haven't experimented with Mintable, but that's another good option. And then, yeah, I'll pass that to you, Diana. I might have just not answered the question, but I hope that was helpful.
You do need a mask to connect to the platforms, and it does cost money to add your image or your artwork to the blockchain. And unfortunately, I feel like that's blocked a lot of artists from getting involved with the space because of the cost to upload artwork. And like I said, you should only invest as much time and money as you feel like you're willing to potentially lose out on. But there are grants available. There are other artists that are, successful and wanting to put money back into the community to help artists mint their works as well. To like send them like Ethereum so that they can then, put their work on the chain. We have some like of the grants linked onto the doc, like the Mint Fund, where you can apply and they try and help some artists get their artwork on the blockchain. So, there are different things like that. There's also another one that I'll just drop really quickly, and I wrote down their name, but I have to put it onto the docs soon. But there's this one collective that helps artists mint their work. They mint it for them and help them. And the biggest artists right now in the crypto art space just sold an NFT for $69 million through Christie's. And that collective helped him mint his first pieces on the chain. So then he grew, and then we had the whole thing with the $69 million, which I'm sure that you guys have seen, and is probably the only reason that you're in this room right now, because it's a pretty big deal. But I feel like that's sort of like those wins. There's other things that I have listed on the doc as well. But there are really big opportunities to do well in this space. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the gas fees and different things like that do end up blocking a lot of artists.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think I know the collective you're thinking about. I can link it if you don't find it. But there's also like yeah. There's I'm sure you guys have probably seen her in Clubhouse rooms. I think her username is like Lady Phoenix, Lady Fee. But she's a Black woman in this space, and she's been like huge in like creating Clubhouse rooms and helping just with her work. I think I linked it on the resource doc. But I DM'd her like a couple times and just like thanked her for her time, and also she like promoted one of my first pieces, and like just reaching out to people is helpful. And I think she has her own like crypto like consultation like firm or something, and they like help people. I don't know how much it is, but I know that her DMs are open and it wouldn't hurt reaching out. And then also some of the Discord groups I've been in, like I got this DM. I was frustrated because I had set one of my next pieces kind of at a higher price, and I wasn't really getting any bids on it, and I actually lowered it back down, which cost some money. And one of the people in the Discord like offered to send me some Ethereum to help with minting. And so yeah, people will like honestly help out, and the artists are being really like helpful in terms of community. So people may offer to send you some Ethereum for your first one. And so yeah, I definitely would just lean into the community because people are being very helpful right now, and that was huge.
Does Lady Phoenix have a Twitter that I can link or something?
She does. I can find it. I think I put it on the doc, but
okay.
I'll put it in the chat now. I was hoping she could join us for the Clubhouse talk, but I haven't heard back. Yeah, but yeah. Okay.
I'll send it to the chat while you keep talking.
Sweet. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, like, just once you guys find out the platforms you want to use, because I'm excited to actually research other platforms myself, because I've only minted on one foundation, and I'm interested in these other ones that aren't using gas fees, because it's expensive. When I first like was interested in the space, the gas fees around like, it was probably like $30 or something, but one of mine recently was around like 90. So it fluctuates. So I'm very interested in trying out like Mintable and Bitsky and just experimenting with others, because it can get expensive. But yeah, let me link Lady. Oh, you already linked Lady Fee. Perfect. But cool. I guess I can, if anyone has any other questions, we can just get into our experience, and then any more questions after that, and then we'll just see you guys at the Clubhouse talk, I guess.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for this intro and the resources. And again, all that information is in the chat and it's also posted in Slack.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'll link the Clubhouse talk, one sec.
They have graciously offered to do it multiple times, so if you missed anything now, you can catch it again later. Or if other things come up and other points they maybe feel like, you know, they didn't address here that they'll probably address later. There's multiple ways to catch this information. And yeah, thank you both so much.
It's truly no problem. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying I'm gonna link like my Twitter and Instagram if you guys want to DM, or you know, on the Slack you guys can DM me or anything that you seriously like. My chats are open and I'm willing to talk about my mistakes or or anything, you know, anything to be aware of that I've found out. And I'm sure that in the time from even now till the Clubhouse, you'll find out more information.
Yeah, no, same. I'm definitely down. And like, I was so excited to find Diana too, because I was like, yeah, because it's just, it can feel isolating, especially like as a photographer and of course as a Black woman photographer in this space. So I'm happy to help anytime and still learning myself so we can learn together. But yeah, a question from someone.
Hey guys, this is a personal question, so you know, it's like answer or no answer. But in terms of the end game in joining this space, are you guys looking, and can we also look to the payouts at the end? That's our end goal, because this is an investment tool, right? And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking the risk profile on this is pretty high.
It is.
Right. And so,
Yeah,
right.
it definitely is.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So it is interesting. I'm just.
Yeah, you know, I also think, oh, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
No, I was going to get ready to ramble. So go ahead, Lauren.
Are you sure you can keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, like, it is a risk, but at the same time, I feel like it's not to say it's not a risk, but I feel like it's in the middle, because like, I think it's really like an investment in yourself. And that's why I think it's important to not to just be like, okay, I'm going to mint any and everything. I think it should be very personal. A lot of people are calling their first pieces now like their Genesis piece. Like, it's very like, you know, it's kind of like a spiritual thing, like posting your first work. And I think that I do, like, you know, just like with anything, with our photo shoots or anything that you're doing for someone, I feel like that's an investment in yourself. And I think this is just an opportunity to take it to the next level where like you're in the control. And for me, I was so hesitant to launch into this space because I was like, okay, no one's gonna buy. I haven't seen any photographers. I was really worried about it. But just by reaching out and, you know, joining a bunch of these communities and Discord communities, it's made the risk a little bit less scary for me, just because I know that people are going to support if I post these, like, you know, links and Black NFT art. It feels more like I'm not alone in this space. So I would encourage everyone to like, and DM me, I can share you like the Discord chats and everything, just to really like, you know, find these different communities, be active and following these people. There's like the Black One-Off Discord, which is like full of Black crypto artists. And because that makes it a bit easier. I don't know about you, but Diana, but that's kind of made it all worth it. And I'm like still trying to figure out what to do next of like minting some more works. And I think just like you were saying, that's why it's kind of like a risk, because I feel like if you just mint everything, you know, of your whole catalog, that can get really expensive, and you know, you might not be getting the reward out of it because you don't know who's going to buy. So I just think intentions is very key here, and just, you know, plan it out and also take a leap if that's what you want to do. But yeah, just have fun with it. I know it can get really overwhelming and stressful because it is a risk. But I think some of the platforms that are like very, also the platforms can be really supportive. Like they have like different Discord channels and the developers will help you out. So I think that's also something to note, is like finding the right platforms for you, and communities, just really rallying around community will make it a lot less risky, if that helps.
Yeah. Also, two things with these talks that we're doing and everything. I don't think, at least I don't think that Lauren and I are trying to push you to then put all your retirement funds into NFTs or anything. But I just think that at least knowing about it is really important, because especially not photographers or anything else really know about the space too much. So,
right.
you know, having the knowledge is, you know, even if you don't end up implementing it now, it could be later in the year or anything like that. Once you're more comfortable, then at least you know now. And, you know, I understand. It's so, even I'm sitting on my work right now because I realized that also a lot of this is, like Lauren was saying, was like intentional, but also intentional community building. Because if you join the Clubhouse rooms, if you talk to people on Twitter, if you make those connections with, you know, within the space, you'll find a lot of supporters and people that want to help you in your work, or, you know, people who will become buyers, and just, you know, people in your community that will then, you know, like what we're trying to build here, even just by talking to you guys about it. And not just, you know, that, but also hopefully those are people that you can then connect with outside of the crypto art space if they want to buy your prints or things, or just become supporters of your artwork in general. I found that that's, you know, I've met people from, because I'm from the Caribbean and I don't know people there, so I've met like Caribbean artists that are like, you know, once you come back to the islands, we're gonna meet up and stuff, and it's really exciting to, you know, yeah, it's dope. You meet people from all over. So I feel like that's cool. So even if you don't actually get into the space or mint things immediately, I would just say that from here on out, just try and be aware of what's going on, you know, what changes are happening. Like when we talked about the $69 million that was just, you know, paid for the NFT, like just try and know, you know, keep yourself in the know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the Black woman photo community will be huge, just like as we're aware of this too, like that as a tool has, you know, like thanks to Polly's work and so many of us, like a lot of people are following it, and like that is in itself a huge community to rally around. Like, you know, if someone drops a piece of crypto art, like that is a huge tool to help support and drive people towards the work. So I think, you know, Black woman photo can be a huge resource in that. And also like just a huge, because I feel like there's not a lot of Black women photographers and not a lot of photographers in this space, and so that right there is a huge, not to say leverage, but it's a huge community tool right there, and for support. And we already have the Slack channels and everything.
Yeah, we have the Slack channels and we're connecting Polly with Black NFT art, and I don't know, we're gonna see a Black woman photo print collection with on NFT market or something.
No, for real, like a virtual gallery. Like there's so many possibilities. But yeah, to answer the question too about the investors' expectation, yeah, that depends on like the platform. So like, for example, I sold something on Foundation, and like that is only going to be like, there's only one chance to get it, like one collector buys it, right? But then like, for example, on Rarible, you can set it to have like multiple pieces. Like you can say like, for example, there's only 20 pieces available to buy, and once those 20 pieces are gone, like no one else can buy it, if that makes sense. So there's options on different platforms. And then also after your collector buys it, it's been good practice for a lot of people to reach out Thank you for linking that. There's been a good practice for a lot of people just to reach out to like their collector and DM and be like, hey, thanks for buying my piece. Like, where can I get this, the print sent to you? Or just to reach out to them to thank them, because you want to build like a relationship with them. And that's, you can also just like talk more about those expectations. And it's been an interesting experience with the collectors, because my first one is anonymous. I'll link his Twitter because he buys a lot from like newer artists, I think. And he's an anonymous collector, and I was trying to sell like, or not to give him like my print, and I was like, where can I send it to? And he's like, oh, we'll arrange that another time because I'm still anonymous. And I was like, okay. So it's like different with each collector. And then my other collector was from like an artist himself. So it's really cool to like get to know like who's buying your piece or who has interest in it. And I'm still kind of learning this game. Like some people like have really close relationships with their collectors, and hopefully I will, hopefully we all will. But
Get me connected with Corey, that's all I'm saying.
yeah, it's crazy. Literally, my second collector was from Corey Van Loo. He's a huge artist. Yeah, I'll link his account too. I would recommend reaching out. I'd literally DM'd my Instagram at the beginning and asked a bunch of like just questions that like, what is this? How do I do all of this? And he said there were no dumb questions. And so I would recommend just, reaching out to people, because you never know like what will happen. But that's the first collector, and then I'll link Corey's page.
The egg guy?
The egg guy, yeah. So no one knows who he is.
My partner has his notifications turned on.
Oh my god. So yeah, it's really funny. Like, collectors, or some of them are anonymous in this space, and you have no idea who they are. But he's been really advocating for newer artists, and like, it's really cool to see. I don't know who he is, or who they are. So yeah, that's kind of that. Let me link Corey's page too. Hold on. This is second collector, and now I'm just trying to figure out what to do next. And excited to learn more, just like all of you. So yeah, thank you guys.
And thank you for Polly for helping us hold the space and the next 3 spaces that we have on this. And anybody that's here right now, or was here earlier, watching the recording, whatever, can definitely come to any of the later ones to just ask any questions, or get links to things like we send out today.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you all. I will give you back some of your minutes. Thank you both so much, and I will catch y'all later in the next session, and I hope everyone else has a great rest of their day. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank y'all.